there, my name is Nicola Baker and I am the Volunteer Training and Development Manager here at Home Start in Central Lancashire, and most importantly I am a fellow parent, so I can very much understand the trials and tribulations that parenting can bring. Within this session today, we are going to talk about lying, which I am sure is something that all parents have experienced, because lying is very, very common. And most children will experiment with occasional bouts of dishonesty, and this should hopefully cause no cause for alarm or concern. However, sometimes children can creep into a bit of a bad habit where telling lies becomes a little bit more common, and that's what we're going to talk about here today. First and foremost, lying is a very natural part of child development, and it is something that most children are likely to outgrow. It can kind of start as more pretending and imagining, and it's really, really important for children's development that they're allowed to do that. So sometimes it can be told tales, and sometimes it can be things that don't mean to cause any intention of lying, but it's more seen as storytelling and kind of emphasising a story. So let's take a little look at why children might lie. So first of all, we need to consider the child's age, we need to consider the circumstances, and we need to consider the reasons for their lies. In younger children, up until the age of around 3, that's when they can start trying to dabble in telling lies. But very, very quickly until the age of 4, children at the age of 4 are considered to be able to deliberately tell lies. And that could be that they want to avoid a task or an activity, they want to avoid getting out of trouble, or kind of more commonly is that there's something that they want. So they're going to tell a lie to make sure that they get that. From the age of 3, children start to realise that us adults aren't mind readers, and that they can actually do something and we might not be aware that it is a lie. So they start to dabble, they start to play around with telling lies, and they realise, and as they grow between the ages of around about 4 to 6, how to actually adapt their voices and their facial expressions, so that obviously that lie carries through, rather than obviously a lie coming out but kind of a stone face, I'm definitely telling you a lie expression that I'm sure we've all been on the receiving end of. As children progress into the more adolescent years, that's when they become a little bit more capable of actively telling lies, and these can happen quite regularly. I know even as adults we do tend to tell little white lies, even if we don't want to tell children that. So children that aren't pulled up for lying can see it as an effective way to kind of get what they want or get out of something that they don't want to do, which is why it's really, really important for us as parents to be consistent with that response and to make sure that we are picking up even on the smallest of white lies. Children can develop this as a bit of a bad habit, and it can be something that then happens without them really thinking about telling lies. It's also worth bearing in mind that children with ADHD are again more prone to telling lies, and this can kind of feed into the fact that children with ADHD are likely to be more forgetful. They are likely to be a little bit more impulsive and likely to be disorganised in the presentation. So because of that, they might resort to lying to kind of prevent them from getting into trouble, maybe for forgetting different things, or you've asked them to tidy the bedroom and you've come back an hour later and it still looks the same because they've got distracted onto a different task, totally different than what you left them doing. So they might tell lies that something happened or something prevented them from actually starting the task that you asked them to do. So it's worth bearing in mind that children with ADHD might struggle with telling lies. Doesn't mean that they get a pass. It doesn't mean that they're just then allowed to tell lies. It just means that they might need to be supported with their approach to obviously telling lies and how we do that as parents, which we will discuss throughout the rest of this session today. So, what are the common causes of lies? Like I've already said, sometimes it can be storytelling and more of that wishful thinking for something to be a little bit more exciting, whether it's something that they've experienced or whether it's something that they would like to experience. This might become part of something that happened to them. It might be fear of punishment, which I've obviously talked about as well, fear of getting into trouble for doing or not doing something, whether it's doing, like they've written on the wall, so then they're lying about who it was that did it. Could be a teddy bear that did it, or a sibling that's done that act. Or it could be something that obviously they don't want to happen, so that then they will obviously try and avoid that situation as well. It could be bragging, and this is very much with friends, not so much with parents because we obviously know the truth, but it can happen with friends where they obviously make an event, a situation bigger and bigger and bigger than it actually was. So it's kind of that bragging to make it sound a little bit more exciting than it might have already have been. Like we've discussed, it could be wanting to please, where they're wanting to kind of tell you that something's happened to make you happy, whether it's they came first in a race when really they didn't. They might have come third, fourth or fifth. It might have been that they got top marks within an exam when maybe they didn't. They are wanting to please you and wanting that praise from you. So they're wanting to give you that information so that they can feel that praise coming back. It could be that they're feeling unhappy. They're feeling unhappy with something that's going on in their lives. Maybe they're not being very upfront with what that actually is, so that they're telling you lies either surrounding that situation or to avoid talking about a certain situation. So it's really important that we unpick that and we figure out the reason as to why they're telling that lie in the first place, which again, we will talk about in a moment or two. We've already said it could be attention seeking. They might be wanting that attention from you. They might be wanting the attention from others. And they might also be just testing the water to see how you're going to respond, especially in those early days. If they're going to tell 1, 2, 3 little lies, let's see how you respond. Let's see what attention they get from that, whether it's good or bad. And then that's going to gauge the relationship with lying within the next few years of that development stage and testing the waters. They may also lie to avoid hurting somebody else's feelings. So if they know that their actions or the actions of others may upset, then they may lie about a certain situation. And this might be evident within split families, where children sometimes can feel a little bit torn between the tension between parents. So they might find themselves telling lies about what might or might not be happening from one side to the other. So there's some of the reasons why. There could be very, very broad reasons as to why children might lie, but there's some of the more common reasons that obviously we've picked up on here at Home Start. So let's just go through some top tips on how to respond. This is going to very much depend on the age of the child, and it's worth bearing in mind that under the age of 4, children can't really comprehend the difference between telling lies and telling the truth. So your responses to younger children will not be the same as older children that have grasped that concept. So how would we respond? Number 1, we're going to talk calmly. If we get angry, if we shout, then it's going to change the way in which children view lies, see lies, and accept to telling a lie. So we've got to make sure that we're very calm in our response, because that's going to help us get to the root cause of what caused them to tell the lie in the first place. Let the children know that you know that they're lying and ask them to tell the truth. It might be that you give them maybe 5 minutes and say, I know you're not telling the truth. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to have a think about how you want to respond to this and if you want to tell me the truth, and then we're going to talk again. Rather than putting them on the spot, let them have 5 minutes to think about what will happen if they don't then tell you the truth. Maybe give them a warning and tell them, I'd like you to tell me the truth, and when you're ready, I'm ready to listen to you. So that would be our number 1 tip, that calm response and giving them the option to be able to tell you the truth nice and calmly in return. Number 2, reassure them that they're not going to get into trouble if they lie. It could be part of your home rules where you respect others, you tell the truth, and it's very much part of your family culture that lying is not accepted. So then you can remind them of this and say, I would really, really like it if you could tell me the truth and you will not get into trouble. I'm not going to say you're not going to get into trouble for what you've done. Maybe they have drawn on the walls and then they will have a consequence to that action. However, there won't be a further consequence because you've told me the truth. Whereas if you tell me a lie, there might be a consequence for that as well. So making sure that you point that out to them and you reassure them they're not going to get as much in trouble if they actually tell you the truth in the first place. Number 3, let them know that telling the truth can be hard. Us as adults, we have all told lies, and sometimes finally admitting the truth can be really, really difficult. So tell them that it is likely to give them some yucky feelings when they want to tell you the truth, but you are ready and you're all ears and you're ready to help them figure out why they needed to tell that lie in the first place. Number 4, ensure that children are comfortable in speaking to you. And this goes very much back to our top point of number 1. If you respond with an angered tone, a short-tempered tone, or maybe just with no response, the children tell you the truth or they tell you the lie and you're just silent, this may prevent children from coming to speak to you in the first place. So it's very much that response that we give as parents of making sure we create that safe space for children to be able to tell a lie, be able to admit the truth, and then play around with truth, lie, storytelling, and that area of child development and what the responses are from adults when children do tell lies. So it is very much experimental. So our responses to children's lies is really, really quite important. Number 5, give your child consequences. Like I said on point number 2, it might be that there's a consequence for the act that they've undertaken and then a separate consequence for telling lies. And make sure that that's very much well known when you are talking about lies and consequences of lying. Number 6, try not to use the word liar. That puts a label on children that they have then become a liar, whereas they aren't liars, they have told a lie, and that doesn't define who they are as people. So try not to label children, because if we do label them as liars, they may become to see themselves as liars, and then that will just become part of their makeup, and it fits into that bad habit of telling lies becomes part of their personality, and we want to avoid that if possible. Number 7, set out clear expectations. Like I've already said, in your household, make sure that you as adults, as parents, as carers, have an honest approach. Make sure that you aren't telling lies and you are leading by example. You are their ultimate role model, so make sure that you aren't lying to them either. If it's a case of can we go to the park, it's a maybe, it's a I will try my best to get there. If I can, then we can go, rather than yes, and then you don't take them. Because in the child's opinion, you've told them a lie. So making sure that you're conscious about you telling lies just as much as you're going to be conscious about them telling lies as well. Number 8, talk to them about the effect of lying, and not just at the time when they've told a lie. This could be an open discussion within your household where you regularly talk about lying. You could maybe do some role plays about how they might feel if they were lied to, or how would you feel if somebody lied to me, or has anybody lied to you and how did it make you feel? Having an open conversation about lying when everything's calm and you might be in the car, you might be sat around the dinner table, and everyone can talk about the impact of lying will really, really resonate with children that this is something that I don't really want to do. I don't really want to make other people feel like I feel when I've been lied to. Number 9, praise children when they tell the truth. If children do lie and then they tell you a truth, make sure you thank them and you praise them for being open and honest and telling you the truth. If they tell you the truth first time, make sure you praise them for that as well. Making sure we're reinforcing those positive responses and paying less attention to the negative responses. And number 10, Making sure you are consistent. It is the most important thing. Children will tell lies. Like we said at the beginning of this session, it is a natural part of child development. So making sure you're consistent in your responses from the beginning will guide children and show them how and how not to lie as they progress through into older childhood, into adolescence, and then through into being young adults as well. I really, really hope you found this session useful. There are lots of other sessions that are available both on our YouTube site and on our website as well. So please do take a look at those. And if there's something that we've not yet answered, if there's a burning question, then please do get in touch and we will try our utmost to make sure that we do respond to you with a session on whatever topic it is as soon as we possibly can. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Goodbye.